Hello and welcome to this Sit and Paint with me, Mark, on the Xenovids channel, and
I'm Iain. Hello.
I'm Iain. Hello. So we've both got the day off, and it's a lovely day outside. So we thought we'd be inside and do some painting, as we normally do. So what are you painting then?
I have a couple of riptides. So I think you've met, if you watch the video, if you watch the channel a lot, you may have met Dimitri. He's one of my riptides. You may have met Vladimir. He's another one of my riptides. And then I've got Alexander, my third riptide, and I'm putting the orange bits on Sergey, my fourth riptide. So I'm working on my riptides today.
So why would you need 4 riptides?
Why not? Who doesn't need 4 riptides? Potentially, they're quite nice models to have. They're big and they look quite cool, in my opinion. We are likely to be doing a Tau campaign soon. So bit of variety. Not that I haven't got a lot of variety for my Tau. I have got a lot.
How many points of Tau do you have, Iain?
7,000 to 8,000 points.
7,000 to 8,000 points.
And I'm getting some more.
What?
I said this the other day. I'm getting 3 broadsides.
Right.
I had broadsides, but then the new codex came out, so
and new models from
the new models came out. So I kind of broke my old broadsides up and made them into crisis suits.
Yeah.
Which they pretty much were, just with big guns on. So I took the big guns off and now they're crisis suits, and so I've not really had the proper broadsides since the new codex. So I thought I'd get some of them. So I'd say a safe 8,000 points, maybe pushing a little bit more.
So let's continue talking about your armies. How many different kind of armies have you got without revealing anything for the Christmas Cup?
Okay, so I have got obviously Tau. Tau are probably my number 1 army. I've got so much of them. Then I have Chaos, which are a bit special to my heart as well. When we originally did, when we were young and naive, we bought a few models and didn't really know the rules or anything. So
that was good.
We kind of just made our own rules up, which is fine. We both agreed on them and we were both happy with that. But
if a model had 2 weapons, you could fire both of them, but if he had 1, you could only fire them. So I had an Elder Die Avenger with 1 weapon, and you had a Khorne Berserker with 2 pistols. So you get to fire twice. Clearly, he's got 2 weapons. It makes sense.
But hey, so yeah, when we first originally started, I think it was Chaos. It was all about Chaos for me.
Yep.
And then I don't know how many years ago now, my ex-girlfriend at the time, well, my ex-girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, she had gone off to uni, and I was looking for a hobby to fill some of my time, and I thought, Warhammer. I enjoyed that when I was younger. Why don't I start that again? So I was looking at them, and Tau were the ones that jumped out. So effectively, Tau and Chaos Space Marines were my first two armies.
I think I remember. I bought the Tau Codex on a whim, and you came into the shop that we worked at, which sold we used to work at as well, that sold hobbies, miniatures and stuff. And I said to you, "What are you doing here then?" And you said, "I came to get the Tau Codex, but you don't have it." And I said, "Well, I've got one at mine, you can have that one, I'm never going to play them." And now you're 8,000 points worth of Tau later.
Indeed.
And that was in 2010.
Yeah.
That's great. 2,000 points a year.
So Chaos and Tau. Chaos, obviously, as I said, does mean, well, they are close to my heart as well, because they were the originals, and I still remember one of the first models I ever painted was a Khorne Berserker.
Iain bought Destiny, and we've just played the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
20 minutes. Good. If you've played Halo, you'll like it. But we went to this hub centre where loads of other players were, and you can interact with them by pressing the D-pad controls, and one of them is dancing. So for a few minutes I was stood in a group, my character was doing this, and then I had a group of people around me enjoying what I was doing. So my sister really likes shooter games, and told her we were playing it, and she spelt it wrong. She said, instead of putting "I want to play Destiny," she put "I want to play Density." Oh dear. Don't know that game. Yes, so my timeline. I went round yours, and you were painting some Chaos Space Marines. I think they might have been called Berserkers.
Probably.
And I wanted to do it, but I chose Dark Eldar because I thought they looked kind of cool. Unfortunately, everyone pretty much after that said they were rubbish. Again, this must be about 10 years,
And the rest.
13, 14 years ago, something like that. So I left them, and I went through random like Eldar, Tyranids, Chaos Space Marines, stuff like that. But it wasn't until I went to uni in, again, 2010, where I picked up Iron of Blood set for Warhammer Fantasy, and I picked up the Tyranny Codex that came out, the last edition Tyranny Codex, and got myself a Trigon. Enjoyed painting it, but then really kicked on with my Eldar, and I must have about 6,000 points of Eldar now, I think. And they've become one of the armies that are close to my heart. And Tyranids, I've got about 4,000 points of Tyranids, possibly, maybe 3,500. But we tend to pick armies that are different.
So
we don't brainstorm and go, right, I'm going to get this army, you get that army.
I think it's natural selection, really. Like, if you have Tyranids, even if I wanted Tyranids, I'd kind of be like, "Oh, I'll stick away from them because you have them, and they're one of your armies, you know."
Yeah.
But saying that, one of our friends, Ryan, he has Necrons, and that was his first one. In fact, some of his original models were some of your trial paints, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
So he has Necrons, but again, he's away at university at the minute, so he doesn't play that much. So we set up the league. Now, I had a few Space Marines kicking about, and kind of made them into my own individual chapter. So the first league, I had the Chaos Tau and the Space Marines in. We had decided that whoever come bottom of the league was relegated, and therefore couldn't play in the next league, but could play in subsequent leagues after that.
Unfortunately, for your Space Marines, you only had a certain amount of models, so
I had to kind of.
It was just tactical Marines, a squad or two of Terminators, some Assault Marines, and a couple of Dreadnoughts in drop pods. Didn't have the variety, and because of that, didn't do so well.
Yeah, so
they had a couple of surprise results, but
so they got relegated. So I was looking at what armies I could have, and then obviously I saw Necrons. I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind painting some Necrons, seeing how they come out. And as I said, because Ryan isn't here that much, so he doesn't get to play Necrons, I then picked up about, I'd say I've probably got about 2.5, maybe 3k of Necrons. And played them, they're alright. I don't know, they don't really seem challenging. One of the things I do like about Tau is you have to be fairly tactical with them, because they've only really got one thing going for them, and that's their shooting. If you get them into close combat, they will fall over before you even say the word knife.
Yeah. And 40k is a shooting game, so shooting armies are at a bit of an advantage, obviously. But there's been a big shift in the power of Tau. In 6th edition, you'd see a lot of Tau and Eldar allies, especially at the tournament scenes. But in the Nova tournament, which I've talked about quite a bit on the channel, don't put the brush in my coke. I didn't see any armies even allying with Tau at all, or a Tau in the top 10. Surprisingly, there was a Dark Eldar, but no, there wasn't.
I think they've just gone under the radar a little bit. I still think they're a very powerful army.
You've just got to fight. You got to fight. You got to crack it. And I think, obviously, they didn't do too badly in the last tournament that we did. They've always done quite well. I think they've come second pretty much every time in all our Christmas Cup tournaments. It's just you've got to crack it to get that, either the list or the combinations that work well. Like, you used an Aegis defence line in the first tournament, it was alright, but you took that away to add more depth to your troops, and people have commented saying, oh, maybe you should keep your Aegis defence line. And some people have said Pathfinders, but every time we've used Pathfinders in the past, they'll help out for one turn, but because they've got such a low toughness and armour save, even their cover save isn't going to protect them from a lot. So
I think having a lot of models, I can mix and match, and as long as they survive in the leagues, I can then pick and choose what I put in and see what does work well for them. I think it's going to be a close call this season though, if they do stay in the league, because they've had some bad battles, but they've had some really, really overpowering battles as well. Like they completely tabled the Space Marines? No, Space Wolves.
Yeah.
And they weren't far off from doing that again in one of their last battles.
Now, our tournament, I think 7th edition came halfway through our tournament.
It did, yeah.
So that's a bit of a change, but there are also you've got to take into consideration play styles. Like my play style is disruption, distraction, and claiming those objectives or points that I need to get. And you go for the kills. You're like, I want to kill everything as much as I can, which is fine for a kill point game.
Yeah.
So we've mixed it up, and we've done half the tournament is going to be the new missions, and half the tournament are going to be the standard missions that we're all used to, just to mix it up so that it's kind of fairer. And I do find like Tyranids and Eldar, which have masses, lots of troops, and the ability to manoeuvre themselves, can claim those odd objectives. If you draw an objective card, claim objective 1, you've got that point automatically. Whereas in a kill point, you wouldn't get that point automatically, and you'd have to kill things. And as you've seen on our Tyranids Necrons battle report, my Tyranids can't kill Necron vehicles. So that's a bit...
So, Tau, Chaos, Space Marines, I have started to develop. So I have probably a good, let's say, 3,000 points we figured out the other day.
Of
Space Marines, Barbarians.
Yes. And a good variety now.
Yeah, some different models in there. Obviously I still need to build up, but that will come with time. Necrons, probably 2.5, possibly pushing very much so, 3. And then I have a secret army which I'm not going to divulge about until
Christmas Cup.
Christmas Cup.
Because what we do for the Christmas Cup is we decide on the tournament rules and parameters, and then come together and then kind of tell each other either the day before, kind of thing.
Last year I did it completely random, didn't I?
Yeah, you decided on the armies.
I'd written
3 lists for each.
3 lists for my Chaos and 3 lists for my Tau. Now, we had gone to Warhammer World for it, and we stayed over in a hotel, and the plan was to do the Christmas Cup on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday have a bit of a big, it was a massive battle. Well, it wasn't that massive, but a big battle. So we took pretty much all of our armies. We took everything up. We took, at the time, I didn't have Necrons and I didn't have the Mystery Army. So I took my Space Marines, my Chaos and my Tau up there. And you took everything you had.
Tyranids, Eldar, Grey Knights.
And then Ryan took his Dark Angels and his Necrons. So on the Sunday we then played basically Marines against everything else. So Chaos, Space Marines, they kind of, I can't remember how it went, but they for some strange reason allied. So we had everything there, which meant that I could completely randomise my lists, or my list for the Christmas Cup. I didn't have to know what I was taking up there. So what I did is I wrote 3 lists for Chaos and 3 lists for Tau. Now, I had written them down, I'd written them down, put them all in envelopes, mixed up the envelopes, numbered the envelopes 1 to 6, and then when we got to the car park before Warhammer World opened that day, we got out, we were standing in the car park, neither the other 2 knew what I was taking, So I then explained to them that I'd written a list and I didn't even know what I was taking. So I had to roll a dice to find out which list I was going to take. It ended up being Tau, I think.
It was a double riptide.
2 riptide. I think it was a crisis suit heavy one.
I think it was similar to the list you use now in the tournament.
I'm not sure. I think there was. I think Farsight was in it.
I've slept since then.
I've slept a lot since then, so I couldn't tell you either. But yeah, so I completely randomised it. It was quite fun though.
And
We drew in the end, didn't we?
we drew our game, but I defeated Ryan more than you did.
I think you won by 1 point.
Yeah.
And
You were like a few inches off getting Linebreaker and almost destroyed one of his units, and if you'd done that, you'd get it. Because basically, how we do our tournaments, again for our playstyles, I'm good with objectives, you're good with kill points. So the tournaments generally always have, that we make, you get kill points, and then there are objectives which can be random, and it adds to another element of playing the game, which is good.
yeah.
So when it gets nearer the time, probably the first weekend in November, we'll do an update video on the tournament rules and stuff. And then just before the tournament, we'll do a battle about the armies, because I've got a thing where I always bring a brand new army that these guys have never seen me field. I've never really played. It's quite fun bringing an army you don't know how to play. You learn in the most extreme ways doing that. But we don't build those cheesy lists like at the Nova tournament. It was essentially wave serpents.
Some might say that the 2 riptides was quite cheesy, but like I said, I'd written 6 lists and it was completely random how I did it. So
I think our lists are generally between balanced to competitive.
Yeah.
Which is good.
So I normally, for the last 3-4 years, how many years have we been doing it?
I think this is our 3rd year Christmas Cup, because we went to Warhammer World, and then the year before that, did we go to Warhammer World? I think we did, because we used the town board the year before that, and the year before that we did yours. So this is the 4th year.
So every year so far I've taken Tau, and obviously last year it was randomised. But Mark said a little while ago, I don't know if he remembers this, but he said that if I don't take Tau, he'll buy me lunch. So I was like, I won't take Tau then. That's fine.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it looks as if I'm not taking Tau. So, but we will keep you updated. And then your thing was bringing a new army.
Yeah, I've got a new army coming along. It'll be done by Christmas.
Which you may or may not know. I probably think is it's safe to say it's likely to be Dark Elder. But who knows?
Don't know.
We don't know. But
you know about this. You never know about the army though.
That is
Could
true.
be a secret.
Could be a secret. For all I know, you could be taking Sisters of Battle.
Sisters of Battle. The greatest 40k army. So let's.
So, kind of brings us on to what you're working on today. What are you doing?
Well, I've finished up my Kabbalite Warriors and Witches now, and I'm pretty much finished on this Dark Eldar Raider. Now, both you and my partner Vicky has commented on that. You don't mind, you like the models, but you don't like the models. There's something about it that's not really like.
At the moment,
I don't mind the space pirates. I don't know what's going to be good yet, because as of the recording this video, the Dark Eldar Codex isn't out yet for 7th edition. but no, they're not bad models. It's just I read this article the other day on one of the forums, and it's one of those pessimistic articles about the Dark Eldar and being like, Dark Eldar really need a codex that buffs them up, because all the codexes are coming out of streamlining the armies, reining in the crazy rules, but the thing is with Dark Eldar, they have low toughness, low armour, their weapons are poison, and they have a few lance weapons. However, they don't have anything at the moment that can deal with psychers. They don't have anything at the moment that can deal with mass armoured vehicles, such as like Imperial Knights, or lots and lots of vehicles that can jink out of the way, which means their lance weapons are... You've only got 3 on a Ravager. If you don't take down a vehicle, then you've wasted shots. And with Dark Eldar, you have to be precise. So it's, the Dark Eldar codex could be rubbish, but I am going to collect it because I think we need variety for the tournament, next year's tournaments and stuff. But I'm also now, because I've mentioned we're going to be doing fantasy, I've bought a box of Vampire Counts Vargeist / Crypt Horrors, and I'm going to be building them up to be the Vargeist, which is the vampiric ones. If I'm being honest, I think they're vampires that have drunk the blood of other vampires, and then essentially they're on steroids.
They look a little bit like gargoyles.
Yeah.
Like actual gargoyles.
Yeah. Because I have some Ogre Kingdoms and some High Elves models, and I want to do Ogre Kingdoms, High Elves and Vampire Counts fantasy armies for next year. You've got about 3,000 points of dwarfs. You just need to get the codex and check to see which units are alright, and then have that sorted. And then we've got 4 armies ready, and you also have got a few Lizardmen models, which is in the works. But yeah, more fantasy for the channel next year. And I'm watching a lot of fantasy recently, and it's all about combinations, deployment, and your ability to... It's more tactical, your ability to read your opponent's advancing forces and being able to counter it with magic, or the limited shooting fantasy has, or your combat and then charging in the sides and manoeuvring so you can't be countercharged yourself. So more tactical than 40k is what a lot of people have said. So it'd be an interesting game to play. I'm excited. But we'll probably start a league up for that, which means we'll have a 40k league and a fantasy league. But talking about 40k leagues, haha. We've got someone asked on the comments. Sorry, don't remember who it was. It was quite a while ago. If we could talk about where the armies stand in our league, because at the moment we've played 23 games out of 30.
Have we? I thought we'd played one since then as well.
No. From this result, that's.
Oh no, we were due to play one today.
Yeah,
no, we didn't.
So we played 23 games, and this is how the table will look. What I'll do is I'll have the table up here, and we'll be in the little corner down here. In 6th place is Chaos Space Marines. Played 6, won 1, drew none, lost 5, and they're on 10 points. Why do you think they are at the bottom, Mr. Iain?
I don't know. I don't know. I think perhaps maybe
because I haven't seen a lot of Chaos Space Marine games on Mini Wargaming, but you don't tend to use cultists.
no.
Even though you use Typhoners. you do use 2 Land Raiders, and that is like 500
That
points.
I think is what it is. I think it's the fact there's a lot of heavy weapons.
And
A lot of heavy weapons are absorbed up by a lot of points.
whereas you could have a Rhino and a small squad of Plague Marines just designed to hold an objective or being annoyance, you've got 2 Land Raiders and large squads of Plague Marines.
Yeah.
But we don't really play around with chaos lists.
No.
Maybe we should. Maybe we should write some lists for armies and see what we think.
So for next year, we've started talking about the league already, and because we do want to get some fantasy games in, and we're doing a few campaigns and stuff potentially, there's not going to be as much time to get as many games in. This tournament that we've got is 30 games. Obviously, if we're doing one a week, that's most of the year. You take out a couple of weeks where maybe I'm on holiday, Mark's on holiday,
a holiday.
and and then the summertime, I was pretty much working non-stop throughout the summer.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult to find time to do them, and then to do other things as well. So we're kind of looking at reducing the league for next year, depending on, well, we say reducing at the minute, depends on if other people join it or not.
Yeah, I mean we could. We're
toying with the ideas, but
we play in the daytime when we have mornings off or days off. But after when we get stuff, you can always come over and do evenings here.
nice.
It's just finding the time.
Yeah.
So we've already decided we're going to reduce the points value from 2,000 to 1,850.
And then on top of that, we were toying with the idea of potentially doing 5 teams. So obviously the winner has to stay in the league. Last year that was Tyranids, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So the winner has to stay in the league. They're the reigning champions. They have to stay in that league. You can change the list, but you have to keep them in there. The loser has to be relegated, so they can't join next season's league, which then means that they can join subsequent leagues after that if they choose to, or if the owner chooses to. So what we've kind of suggested is the winner stays in, and then whoever has the winner has another army of their choice in as well. And then, so say for instance Tyranids win again, you'd have Tyranids in and then an army of your choice. I'd have 2 armies in, and then we were toying around with the idea of having a wild card army in that we would, not as big as I thought.
What?
Whatever they are.
Vargheist? No, they're...
Oh, okay, that's not the wings.
no, that's the door. That's his back
So
hair.
then what we'd do is we'd have his... needs to shave or wax or something. What we'd do is then have the wild card as kind of a...
Wild card.
It could be anything. Of the teams that we have, or armies that we have available, we could put it to you to see what you wanted to see, or we were possibly going to have a little mini tournament to see which of the remaining ones can join. So yeah, I don't really know what my point was, but it's fun to digress sometimes. What was I talking about? What you said about the league?
Why chaos so low?
Oh, so it could be the case that if Chaos are the wild card, we could put in
We could write a couple of lists.
We could write a couple of lists and see what works well. Because one of the things with the wildcard was that we could have a couple of lists written each, and then maybe put it to a vote or something to see what one you guys want to see, or what one we prefer to have in. So yeah, we could have like a Khorne Berserker heavy army, or a undivided. Could have various different things.
In our leagues, we don't play. Nearly stabs them. We don't play allies.
Got you back with the paintbrush.
We don't. We feel with the allies, it's just, unless it's in a narrative campaign, it's a bit cheesy. It's like if I bought an Imperial Knight, a Baneblade, and then Baneblades, or like demons and Imperial Knights, to me don't really make sense. We played football yesterday and we're both injured. Yeah. In 5th place, you could have just asked. I could have passed it. Give up. In 5th place is your beloved Tau.
My beloved Tau.
Tau have played 8 games. They've won twice, drawn
absolute convincing victories each of those times.
Drawn no times, lost 6, 15 points. Now I will say that to earn points in our campaign tournament, if you table someone, you get 6 points. If you win, you get 5 points. If you draw, you get 3 points. If you lose, you get 1 point. And if you are tabled, you get no points. So they're on 15 at the moment.
Like you said earlier, it's finding that balance with Tau. I don't want to make it super cheesy and take all 4 of these guys. But at the same time, I kind of still want to make it a bit competitive. And finding that balance for Tau, I think, is a little bit more difficult than some of the armies. The other armies finding the balance of fun yet competitive.
Tau are. They've got 2 games left. They recently won against Chaos Space Marines.
They've got another game against Chaos Space Marines coming.
They're probably going to win that, which means if they beat Chaos, then they're safe. And we know that Chaos will be relegated. Because we don't think Chaos can win against the other armies that we have. So in 4th place is an army which I predicted would win it, I think. And I told you they were superly strong. The Necrons. Now Necrons have played 5 games. They've won 3 times, drawn no times, lost twice, and they're on 16 points. Now,
even if you double that, they would come potentially second.
They'd come second to the ones that are in number 1, but Necrons do have the ability to table Chaos, to table the Tyranids, and gain extra points in denying the armies that still have games to play those crucial points. So Necrons still are in it to win it. And they've just been devastating because you play a mechanised list. Bear in mind, he doesn't play the flying circus. You don't have you don't have any of the Necron flyers, but yet their win ratio
it's very substantial.
Good.
I think it's not just I might have to go get another paintbrush because that one's a bit dead.
Okay.
It's not that their skimmers are. They're all skimmers, and their chariots are good as well. You know, it's
chariots are amazing.
All of their. I thought you got some on the carpet then. I didn't realise that was a piece of cork.
No.
It's Yeah, their vehicles are probably some of the strongest in the world.
Yeah.
In the galaxy.
Coupled
Universe.
with, they can come to life and stuff like that. It's mental. You off to get a paintbrush?
Yes.
I'll continue filming.
Okay. I'll probably get something else in there as well.
Alright, buy me something.
Okay.
I live 2 doors down from Niche Comics in Huntingdon, and Niche Comics are pretty awesome. They have a lot of, they always have the paints and glues and paintbrushes in, and they can order the models in for you as well. So it's really convenient. But it's also a catch-22 because yes, it's convenient. The only problem is, because it's there, I'm gonna go and buy stuff. I could have waited. It's my birthday in a couple of weeks. I could have waited for these to come. You know, I want them now. So I'll carry on. In third place are my Space Wolves. Now, obviously I've moved from where I was living before, and I was going to sell my Space Wolves to help with financing, buying furniture and stuff, but we've been quite lucky and I haven't needed to downsize any of my armies. But because I was going to sell the Space Wolves, we decided we would change the league so that Space Wolves got all their games done pretty much by the time the new codex came out. But then the new codex came out, I reviewed it, I liked the models, I liked the rules, I still wanted to do Space Wolves, so I kept them. Now they're in third place, played all 10 games. They've won 5 and lost 5, so it's perfectly even for them. They're on 28 points, which is really good for them, and they're good. In the meta that we play, they're a above average army, and they're great. I don't have any of the new models, unfortunately, but we've been talking about doing narrative campaigns with the Space Wolves, and that I'll need to get more variety, because I can only play them one way: aged defense line, long fang shooting, and maybe have a couple of units drop pod in. In second place are my Eldar. They're on 8 points at the moment. They've won 5 and they've lost 5. They're on 30 points, but they have tabled a couple of armies, so they're just above Space Wolves there. And how have they won 5 and lost 5? There might be a typo there, because 5 and 5 is 10, not 8, and they haven't played all their games. But Eldar are second, and Eldar have always been strong. Since that codex came out, they have been amazing. Wave Serpents, Wraith Knights, jet bikes are just devastatingly awesome, and I will win. And I will lose. So it's not like I'm going to come to the table, I've brought my Eldar list, I'm always going to win, because I could have a bad round of shooting and then you take down a couple of my vehicles, and then all I've got left are toughness 3 models on the board. So the Eldar are awesome to play with, and I'm hoping, because I've played Eldar for so long, that I'm going to be half decent with Dark Eldar. Now, if you're a Dark Eldar player out there and you're watching this, please, 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 please leave a comment below about the differences in play style and what will help me be a better Dark Eldar player. You're not stuck on very well, are you? So Iain thinks I'm going to take Dark Eldar. to the Christmas Cup. Unfortunately, I don't think my finances will allow that. I'd love to, but again, I don't think my finances can afford it. So they will be in the... That little Dalek is Iain. They'll be definitely been in the next tournament. I've opened it. Fool. So yeah, they're in second place and they are awesome, and like we said, I've got loads of models for them. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, I haven't pushed it quite enough.
What'd you buy? Oh! What's that, Iain?
I don't know. Okay, so it was there, and
I'm just telling them that it's a catch-22 living near niche comics. It's like, I could wait for ask for these for my birthday, but it's there. I bought them today.
we've got the Dwarf Codex. I do need it because obviously my dwarves don't have a codex at the minute, so I needed it, but yeah, I bought it. Bought some paintbrushes, and then I bought you some Tyranid dice.
Oh wow! Thanks. Some blue dice. I rolled a 1, a 3, a 4, and a 5. That's
Not bad, not bad.
6, 3, 3, 2. Not bad. I like these. 1, 2, 6, 6. 1, 1, 1, 2.
You used all the good juice.
Right. I'm on to the last army. In first place, I think, I don't know how, but they've played 8. They've got 30 points, which is right, but I've written they've won 5 and lost 5. They haven't. They must have lost 3 times. And tabled a couple. No, yeah, no, it does make sense. That makes 30. If they've not been tabled.
I think they have tabled some.
Yeah. Anyway, they're second. First place is Tyranids. They've played 9. They've won 7, lost 2. No draws. They're on 39 points. The Tyranid force I use was, because it was 6th edition, it was a 2,000 point dual force organisation. So I have 5 heavy support, which is the best section of the Tyranid Codex in my opinion.
Well, I think most codexes, the best section is the heavy support.
In the previous Codex,
I don't know,
Tyranids elites were better. And I tend to see fast attacks being not so amazing. So yeah, that's the Tyranids in first place, which is good for me obviously. But
2 times champions by the looks of things.
Tyranids are always doing that. Yeah. But Tyranids have won one of the Christmas Cups, which we so they are in our meta. They're strong, and I know how to play them. But again, they will lose. There are times when they lose, whether it be the mission objective or you destroy all their synapse. That way. So, league tournament results. Are you going to open the Dwarf Codex?
Oh, yeah. Right. You can open it.
That's like opening your Christmas present.
Yeah, well, I was halfway through doing this.
What we could do, I don't know how much we filmed, to finish up recording, let's talk about why dwarves and lizard men.
Dwarves and lizard men.
And I'll talk about ogres, high elves and vampire killers. I'll go first because I've got 3. Ogre kingdoms. I chose Ogre Kingdom. If you've seen my How to Choose a Warhammer Fantasy Army video, you'll see that I like the look of the models.
I'm just indecisive.
Really enjoyed painting them. Like, one of the most enjoyable painting sessions I've ever had is with the Ogre Kingdom's models. And they're an army that seems to be quite simple. They go up and smash you up and eat, which is different to what I normally do.
Is it? Is it?
Is it?
So, Tyranids, they smash you up and eat you.
Well, you need like synapse for them. You don't need that so much with Ogre.
Yeah, but their basic mentality is the same. High Elves, they kind of... does it have a new book smell? He wasn't just trying to hide his face there, by the way. High Elves, they kind of have their tricky ways of magic of doing stuff.
They're like Elder.
They're a bit like Elder. Vampire Counts, they're the ones that are a bit of an anomaly.
I've been watching Walking Dead, and the zombie thing is cool, and I've been reading more and watching more videos, and I've just fallen for the army. No idea how to play them. What do you think like that? But I watched a video the other day of dwarves versus vampire counts, and it was a dwarf army with no cannons, and the guy said dwarves are so rock hard you don't even need to take cannons to win with them. So a simple dwarf warrior has toughness 4, which is brilliant. We've got to get our minds...
It does have a new book smell.
We've got to get our minds into the into a fantasy set where low toughness and strength and low armor save is quite common. Where we're used to like, we'll pick Terminators, or we'll pick giant tanks, and we'll pick...
Well, what is war without tanks? It's dead fish. Or tail.
It's, exactly. But with dwarves, their toughness 4, they've got a weapon skill of 4, which is brilliant. They have a low initiative, high leadership, low movement, and strength 3. But they're just killer with the cannons and...
Killer cans? Isn't that pork?
Right, let's have a look at their points.
So you were saying about vampire counts, that you've fallen in love with them.
Yeah.
Not too short, yeah?
They look great, vampire counts. That's why I've got some of them here, so I can really test how I paint. If I don't enjoy painting them, then I don't know what I'll do with them. But why have you chosen dwarves, Iain?
I don't know.
What? Cannons are special?
Dwarves. I don't know. I like the dwarves. I have always kind of liked the dwarves. The only reason that I didn't immediately want the dwarves is because they're so small. To paint it, it would take a while, and I don't know.
They are very small models, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like...
But then, for one of my birthdays, I got given about 100 dwarf models.
There you go.
Never got round to painting them. So I kind of was like, yeah, I like the dwarves. They're good. If I was a fantasy character from Lord of the Rings, for instance, I would probably be Gimli.
The other weird thing is that the actor who played Gimli is actually
he's huge.
He was the tallest actor on set.
I would probably be Gimli. All this fancy elf stuff. It's just not me.
I want to watch Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. You got it.
I've got all of them, mate.
Is it in your alphabetical bookshelf?
Right, okay.
Good question. If you have everything alphabetical, where do the films with the at the beginning come?
For example, The Amazing Spider-Man.
Does it come in A for Amazing Spider-Man or T for the?
The T. The Lord of the Rings is under T, not L. I think, though, that I am wrong now. Because everyone seems to be.
A lot of people have told him that he is wrong.
But
How many of you do that? Put them in the as opposed to the letter that starts their actual first word. Yeah, so I wouldn't be all this fancy, dancy, prancy elfness. I would be hit them in, get in, hit them hard, and that's just the way I am and the way I kind of play, really.
Just the way it is.
So I kind of view dwarfs as one of those that is hard hitting but tough at the same time. Like in any games, like if you've ever played Diablo, you've just broken that. If you ever played Diablo or anything like that, I've always been like the barbarian, the big brute one. That's the character I normally play. So I know dwarves aren't big, but they're quite brutey. They're a bit, and you can't go wrong with beards.
That's your motto in life. I normally go for something kind of tricky, an alternative. If there's a mage or an arrow, some bow and arrow, I tend to go for them. So the elves are generally what I tend to go for. Have you got a bottle of Coke? Yep. Gonna go fill up. In my how to choose a Warhammer Fantasy army, my top 5 armies, all 3 of the elf races are in it. Look at all the froth. Because I like elves. They're awesome. Better than dwarves.
No.
What's the other one? Lizardmen.
Lizardmen. Why lizardmen?
Is it because you loved Jurassic Park too much?
No. I thought you were actually going to start singing something else. Black Adam, maybe? I don't know, I just kind of like the look of them. And I think I'd said to you that I'd quite like to paint some Tyranids, but because you collect Tyranids, I was kind of like, I don't think I'll collect Tyranids. And then you were like, yeah, let's do fantasy again. I was like, yeah. And you know what? Lizardmen are kind of like Tyranids. I'd quite like to paint them.
Yeah, they are. Who doesn't like an army of dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs are awesome.
Strong strength, good strength and toughness. They're quite balanced. They're not overpowered, and Slan mages are still awesome. But,
You've got to love a bit of dinosaurs.
you like beards and scales. No, like sexy elves and
A bearded lizard.
And I like a bit of sexy, dead, and hungry.
So a vampire.
Yes. Oh, And we'd had a conversation a year ago, actually, about
A whole year ago.
the fact that it was in the summer, and we both said we can't afford to start fantasy, and there's no point in doing it. But I'm getting really excited. There's not a lot of 40k armies we don't collect, to be fair.
At the time, I couldn't afford it. I had plans.
Your
Still have plans, but they
addiction to
painting dice. My addiction to
Oh
dice. I actually have got an addiction to dice.
How many sets of dice do you own, Ian?
I don't know. Too many sets of dice.
Do you get them for each army?
Yes, I have specific dice for specific armies.
I don't.
No, and look how well you roll. Bit of superstition there for you. To be fair though, my dice rolls, they do tend to roll quite well when I'm rolling them with their specific army. Do you have any superstitious stuff that you find superstitious when you battle? Or
Where?
just in your day-to-day life? Not you, them.
That lot!
What are you looking for? The
Paints.
They're all there.
I can see them now.
Yeah, right in front of your face.
As always. So yeah, Dark Elder, I'm painting, you're losing town, doing this. Let us know what your projects are, what you're painting at the moment, because we'd be interested to know what you're doing. Tell us if you're excited for fantasy leagues and fantasy battle reports, and the armies we've got. The channel is growing, which is brilliant. We're almost on 1,500 now, and it's growing quite substantially. So when we get to 2,000, I'll do a thank you video. I'm thinking for doing big anniversaries like 5,000 subscribers, I will start a new 40k army chosen by you guys, and when we get to 10,000 points, 10,000 subscribers, I will start a Space Marine, the Xenovid Space Marine chapter, which will be pretty awesome.
That'll have competition from barbarians then.
They could be like brother chapters. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Mark.
I've been Iain.
And we'll see you on our next video.